In 2020 was the time when I had a bit of confidence. Okay, I can take a leap forward and try to spend all my time improving AdonisJS, and then you try to grind in your free time, and eventually either you will burn out or you will lose the momentum, or other things will happen in your life that will eat your time, and it will become really difficult to have the momentum going on. So that's exactly the thing I'm trying to fix right now.
Most side projects die. They start as a solution to a personal problem, live for a while on GitHub, and slowly fade away. AdonisJS didn't. It just turned 10 years old and they're still shipping. Hi, I'm Gabs Ferreira, and in this episode of the Galaxy Crew podcast, I talk to Harminder Virk, the creator of AdonisJS, about what it takes to keep an open source project alive for a decade. We'll talk about where it all started, how Laravel inspired the Node.js framework, and what motivates someone to keep going when there's no big company behind it, just conviction and community. This is one of the conversations that will make you think differently about the software you use every day. Virk, thank you very much for being here with me today. And the first thing I want to ask you is, where are you from and what is your current role?
Sure. So I'm from India. Currently, I'm working on AdonisJS full-time. So you can call me, I'm the marketing guy, I'm the CEO, I'm the CTO, I'm everything who's doing everything possible to make AdonisJS better.
So going back to the past, let's talk about how you created Adonis in the first place. What was happening in your life? What was your background at the time? And what led you to create it?
So this goes back to 2013, 2014, back when I was working with PHP. I got introduced to Laravel, and I absolutely love Laravel. Back then it was Laravel 3. And then I switched jobs where I have to work on JavaScript. Node was really new. So it essentially required me to work on Node. And when I started working on Node, there was only Express. It was a micro or a minimal framework that you can use to basically build web applications, but then you have to put together everything else yourself. And that was a time when I missed Laravel a lot, and the way it approached things and all the tooling it gave me to build my applications really quickly. So from there on, I started hacking together something for myself that I can use, or maybe with people I know in my team. And that eventually led to the creation of AdonisJS somewhere in 2015.
So it was heavily inspired in Laravel.
Oh, yes. Till date, I can say that. Of course, it doesn't look exactly like Laravel, the way it used to look back in the days, because PHP and TypeScript are two different languages. So Adonis evolved into its own thing. But in terms of solving the same set of problems, or giving a fully functional foundation to build your apps, is very much inspired by Laravel.
So you said you started it in 2015 and now we are in 2025. When is the birthday of Adonis? It's already 10 years?
Yes, we launched in September. I think it was September 15th, if I remember the date correctly. But yeah, we are pretty much completing 1 decade in a week or so now.
And why did you choose the name Adonis? Where did that came from?
It was a very random thing. We had this chat group in the company I was working for, and I asked everyone, "Hey, can you suggest me some names which are close to beauty, elegance?" And someone said Adonis only. And I thought, okay, Adonis looks really different, sounds really different. It's really easy to pronounce. And that's how I picked it. After a few years, I found out it's also a name of a Greek god. And if you do a search with Adonis, you find a lot of random stuff on the internet. And that's the reason we have to do that suffix of JS and make it into AdonisJS.
All right. So back in the day when you used to talk to people to get ideas, nowadays you just ask ChatGPT and it would give you a random name.
Yeah, maybe you can try that.
In the beginning of the project, what did you use Adonis for? For your own projects? Did you use it in your company?
So I think the very first thing I started doing with Adonis was a side project. Again, I don't completely remember what the project was, but it was a side project with a couple of colleagues, and it was related to like music, that you can like pick and share music with your friends, something like that. And we needed its backend, and that was like the very first project I did in Adonis. Then I again switched company, worked for a startup. Over there we started using AdonisJS to build like the product from scratch. Also AdonisJS got used in this like first company where I was working. So these were like initial two, three projects that were built with Adonis.
And was it open source since the beginning, or this was a decision you took over time?
No, I think it was open source from day one. That was pretty much the intention, to build like something like Laravel, the open source set, and have like a alternative in the JavaScript ecosystem.
And at the time, did you already have experience with open source contributions and this whole world?
I would say not really. I maybe created one library called ngCli, which was like Amber CLI for Angular applications, and it was used like in very limited context. So that was like the first project, and then AdonisJS, and barely like no experience on how to like run a project or how to manage a community and all that.
It takes me to the next question. That is, what were the biggest challenges you faced in the early days of the project?
I think I would say adoption would have been the biggest one. So it has, like always been like this. There are people who very heavily believe in the philosophy of a full stack and a batteries included framework. And then there is another segment, which is like, oh no, we want to like set up everything by ourselves. We don't want to bind ourselves into like a full stack framework, which will restrict us in many different ways. So letting those people convince that you can like for the most apps, using a batteries included framework can be like really beneficial for you. So it's convincing them around that. And the other one is you can like build applications without using a full blown front end framework like React or Vue. It's like still possible to use a template engine with a bit of interactivity, and those apps perform really well, which is like really popular in other ecosystems like Rails.
I think the first thing you mentioned is the one that I imagine being one of the hardest ones. That is, make people use your product. And in the case, it's not a product, but it is, anyway. And you have to be constantly talking about it, writing about it, updating it, and convincing people that that solution is the best for whatever reason. And now, 10 years into that, how do you convince someone to use your framework, man? If you had to, summary, what motivates people to use your framework?
Yeah, I think like very first it depends upon the context that you're in. Like let's say if you're working for a huge company and you have like built a lot of your own tooling, then maybe you don't want to buy into a full stack or a batteries included framework. But let's say you are an individual or a really small team who's trying to build something and you want to quickly get off the ground, you will be better off using batteries included framework versus like assembling everything together, fighting with the tools, picking libraries, spending like literally weeks in like creating that foundation, which you get free with like Adonis. And not only Adonis, like there is also Nest that you can use if you like it more. But by using a framework that gives you structure, foundation, and conventions, can really help you speed up things if you're like a small team or an individual. So that's where like I usually start, finding out like who you are, what you're trying to build, how big the team is, what kind of things like you believe in. From there on, it's like pretty easy to know if Adonis is going to be a good fit for them or not.
How long did it take for people to start actually using the framework? Like when you realized that, well, this is something that I maybe should spend more time on and improve this, how long did it take?
So I like went full time on framework in 2020. So that was a time when I thought like I can start working full time on it and there will be like enough people supporting me to like just maintain the framework. But in terms of like people using it, I think like in some capacity people always used it since V1. Like of course I don't like completely remember how things were, which kind of conversations we had, or like how big the community was. But from very early on when I released, I found some people, like sharing it or talking about it or getting in touch with me and saying, oh wow, we like really needed something like this. But of course in 2020 was the time when I had a bit of confidence. Okay, I can take a leap forward and try to like spend all my time improving AdonisJS.
This leads me to a question that a lot of people ask themselves related to open source, that is how to make money with open source. Because I see that you made this movement to go full time with Adonis, of course because you like the project, but probably because you saw an opportunity to make a living out of it instead of working for other people. So how was that?
Yeah, so I think after spending like all these 10 years, I would say I've myself like committed a lot of mistakes. If someone who is starting today and they want to be full time on their open source projects, they should think of, like setting up a business or a monetization, basically figuring out a way to monetize it. Because once you have a business, once there are people who are paying you, it's far easier to maintain the product and like stay full time on it, give it all the care it needs, maintain it, versus you think, oh, I like don't want to charge people for something that's open source, and then you try to grind in your free time, and eventually either like you will burn out or you will lose the momentum, or other things will happen in your life that will like eat your time, and it will become really difficult to have the momentum going on. So that's exactly like the thing I'm trying to fix right now. Get out of the mindset of like just building without even thinking of what's the business angle there. And again, it's not about like the greed that you want to earn more money. It's about once you have living of the thing that you're building, it's easier for you to maintain it in long run.
This is something that sometimes I see in the open source community from brilliant developers that believe that you shouldn't charge anything for open source, or they have this struggle to see how to monetize things because they believe this shouldn't be something paid or something like that. Is this the kind of view that you maybe had in the past? Like, was this, or did you just struggle to see how to monetize it?
Yeah, I think I pretty much had the same mindset. Like, why would someone pay for it? It's like really stupid to charge for something. Like, essentially, like whatever idea I had in my mind, within a week, I can convince myself I should not charge for it. So it was again the same mindset of developers that you shouldn't be charging for the things where it feels really easy to you. But the opposite side of that is if you don't charge, then eventually, as I said, things will happen in your life and you like won't have time to maintain this project anymore. So it's kind of like a loss situation for everyone. People who are using your project may end up using something that's not maintained anymore, and you as a developer who love doing something won't be able to do it anymore. So I think it's okay to get out of that guilt and shame and try to find out how you can like add some business value and start charging for it.
How are you implementing that? What are you building? How are you monetizing Adonis to make it work for you to work it on full time? Because as you said, some people think they shouldn't charge for it because, I don't know, it's stupid, or because they don't think this is worth. But on the other hand, you are working full time on it. You were spending like time of your life on it, so you should be paid. So how are you doing that, man?
Currently, the only way I get paid is like through sponsors. And then there are some companies who, like pay me for the support. That's the only thing, but that's not like the real business that you can rely on. And then you can say that this is like the actual business model. I'm currently working on something called like Adonis Plus, which is one time payment. And within Adonis Plus, there will be multiple things. And one of those things will be Get. And I can like talk a little bit about it, why I'm building it, how it will look like, and like how in fact like it may help the adoption of AdonisJS as well. So since day one, the goal has been to make it like really easy for people to build their products and ship it out to the world. And there are two sides to it. One is something we already do, give you a good foundation, structure, conventions, and a lot of low level APIs that you can use to build the actual features. But the other part is still missing, which is like building out the features yourself. So something as simple as I want people to register with their email and password, then log in, then reset their password, change their email, verify their email address. If you have to build like all these flows, you will have to create them by hand today. Of course, AdonisJS will help you with low-level APIs and making sure like it hashes the user password, it saves it to the database, and like it takes care of the security and all those things. But you still have to build the actual flows and the actual features, and that's the second part that I want to solve, giving you all of these features pre-built so that it like actually improves your velocity even more. And the way I want to do it is not like really, like hard-coded features or really pre-designed everything that you can't really change. And if you change it, then suddenly you have to like rip apart everything. The approach I want to take is very much similar to the way a lot of front end frameworks are doing these days, and the very popular one is chatcn, where you say I need, let's say, a form, and chatcn will like give you the actual source code of that form, and it will like drop it within your application, so you still have like all the control over it. In the same way, Git will be giving you full stack components for a flow. So again, if you want to build sign up, you say git add, which is like a CLI command, sign up, and it will give you the backend code, the tables, the front end UI, all within your application. You still have control over it. You can still edit it. You can still change like a bit of logic around how things get saved into the database or change the email templates. But you get like 80 or 90% of the work already done for you. So that's like one product I'm building. There can be like endless features in it that will be like a monetized or the paid thing in the ecosystem.
You are working on that full time and all by yourself. You have no one else working with you.
Only me. Like in the framework, we do have a core team where we have like 4 people, but this product, I'm the one who is like working on it all alone. And yeah, that's pretty much all.
Are you working too much, man? Because that feels like a lot of work for one person. And when you're building your own stuff that has basically infinite features, it's hard to, have that feeling that you're done. I mean, there's always something to do, right?
So I think I struggle with it in the past, where I used to work a lot, get burnout, have like a lot of anxiety of I'm not shipping things, I want to do too many things too quickly. But I would say in the last 8 months or a year, I started to like slow down a bit or calm down a bit, I would say, and try to like follow a routine. Of course, things should get shipped, but just getting like anxious about it or always feeling the hurry to ship something doesn't really help. It just like slows you down and doesn't like help you think clearly. So I like don't work more than 9 hours a day or maybe 10. That's all. Like not more than that.
So if you are an AdonisJS user, you're shipping apps with it, Galaxy is the best place to host your Adonis apps. We have dedicated support made by humans, managed Postgres databases hosting as well, and we are improving every day to make Galaxy the default hosting for AdonisJS apps. If you want to try Galaxy today with your Adonis apps, there's a coupon that is going to appear here on the screen, so you can sign up using the link that is below here in this episode and use this coupon to have $60 in credits. And now let's go back to the episode. What is the state of Adonis today, man? Like, if you have to describe the framework in a few sentences, who is Adonis for, what it does, and who should try it today?
AdonisJS is a batteries included full stack framework. It is like very different from other frameworks that you might have used in the past. And, like the very popular ones is the meta frameworks like Next, Next, or there are like micro frameworks like Express, Hono, and AdonisJS is like completely different from those. We have like a lot of focus and we put a lot of emphasis on the backend features, be it the ORM, Miller integration, doing rate limits, queues, and essentially like all the backend business logic that you have to write is far easier to do in AdonisJS versus any other framework that you might have used in the past. So if you're a full stack developer who wants to own your backend and you want to like very rapidly ship features, then I think AdonisJS could be a good candidate for you. You can give it a try, see if you like it, if you like the philosophy and the approach. Other than that, we also have like a different spin on how you use Vue or React in AdonisJS, and this is using inertia. We can also talk about inertia, but that's going to be its like own topic. But the idea is you can use AdonisJS, write all of your backend features, and then for the front end, if you want to use Vue or React, you can also use that via inertia, which simplifies a lot of things in the backend and front end communication.
What are the plans for the future for Adonis? What are the features that are being built right now, and what do you expect from its future in the near future?
So I think there are a couple of things. Very first, we are working on Adonis 7, which is going to bring end-to-end type safety in the framework, which essentially means if you're building an API or if you're building like a front-end app with React Vue via inertia, then you will have like end-to-end type safety. There is a type on the back end, you can can use it on the front end. If front end needs something, back end knows about it. So it's essentially fully typed. That's one thing that we are working on. The other one is adding native queue feature in the framework. So right now, if you want to implement like background jobs and queues, you have to use existing packages like BullMQ. We have nice integration with that, but we are building on a more holistic in-house implementation of it. And then on top of that, I'm like working on Adonis Plus, which will have like Adonis Kit, a few more things. So that's kind of the focus for next year, I would say.
What role do you think Adonis plays in the broader Node.js ecosystem nowadays?
If I like look at the broader Node.js ecosystem and you're someone who is like, okay, we want to use more conventional batteries included, fully featured framework, Adonis and Nest are the only two options that I know of, at least. Again, if you're looking for a full stack framework, fully featured, these are the only two options you have. Other than that, it's all meta frameworks or like micro frameworks. So we kind of like fill that gap in the ecosystem.
And in your point of view, what are the main differences between Adonis and Nest.js?
Like the most prominent one is how we do things. Again, I haven't like used Nest that much. I just went through the documentation, and from there what it looks like, Nest is more boilerplate heavy, so I have to put together a lot of boilerplate to get things going, whereas with AdonisJS it's not that boilerplate heavy. So that's like one main difference. The other one is, if I'm not wrong, Nest still doesn't have a full stack story into it. People mainly use it to like build the APIs, but if you say within the Nest code base, I want to build a full stack app using React, I don't think you really can do that. You have to like build two separate projects. One is going to be your React app. The other one is going to be your API, which is a good choice in many cases as well. But if you don't want to do that, I don't think there is a straightforward or a native way to do that. So that's like one place where AdonisJS differs a lot.
We started talking because recently we started supporting AdonisJS on Galaxy, and we have plans for making it the best place to host your Adonis apps. And I'd just like to ask you, what was your experience with Galaxy? And if you can tell a little bit more about how was the experience trying to host the app on other platforms.
Like once you guys started supporting me, I gave Galaxy a try. It was just to, like run a couple of demo applications and see how straightforward it is to host my apps without running into any errors. In that, I was like successful. I was able to get everything up and running apart from like hosting my SQL databases, because I think you guys support MongoDB right now. So on that front, it was really simple to get up and running and going without, like really worrying about the infrastructure. Apart from that, I do use Fly.io, which is like a bit different than Galaxy, the way it does things and the way it approach deployment and all that stuff. Yeah, I think I would say if someone want to host their application to a platform which feels more like Heroku, they can give Galaxy a try and see if they like it to run their Adonis apps or not.
Okay, man. So thank you very much for your time. And it was really nice to get to know you a bit more and the project as well. Where people can find you? Where is the Adonis community?
I would say we have like a fairly active community in our Discord. Like if you go to our website, that's AdonisJS.com, and you will find a link to Discord. That's where like everyone is fairly active. Of course, we are also on Twitter, which is X now, with the handle Adonis Framework. So you can catch up there to see like what's happening in the ecosystem and what updates we are shipping.
I'd like to thank Virk one more time. Your story is very inspiring, man. Keeping an open source project alive for so long, shipping good stuff and being close to the community as you are is a big challenge, and you're nailing it. I really admire the work that you're doing, and I think Adonis is just getting better. And if you liked this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on Spotify, rate the podcast, follow us, and don't forget to comment so we can know what you're thinking about it. And don't forget that Galaxy is the best place to host your AdonisJS apps. There's a link and a coupon in the description of this episode so you can host your apps there today and give us your feedback. So yeah, that's it for today. I see you soon. Bye.